With the increased devotion, faith, and request, let us pray to the Parabrahma Paramatma to reveal to us very soon in all his clarity. With increased devotion, Shraddha, let us pray to the Ishvara to remove the curtain of Maya Avidya from our life. Let us pray to all Devatas to bless with all strengths, positivities in all our faculties. Let all the Gurus continue guiding us, blessing us with their Tapashakti, Anugraha Shakti. Let Shruti Mata be always with us in our memory, continuously hinting us at, guiding us at what to do, what not to do in this regard. Salutations, welcome to all wonderful sadhakas. That is great that we have conquered one thing in our life of finding interest, expressing that interest in the form of being regular in our Shastra Shravanam, Shastra Adhyanam. When we do this Shastra Adhyanam, these 3-4 things, again, let us remind ourselves, should happen in us. First is what? Clarity of Paramatma and desire for Paramatma. Basically, everything depends on it only. How much clear we have become in our understanding regarding the truth. See, when we take food, it has to become internalized at the body level. So, too, when we take the medicine, that also for the body, it has to get internalized and go to the place of disease and remove the disease. So, too, the money we get it, it should be internalized in giving us the security and confidence and must be made use of it for the purpose. Anything useless gained is wrong, anything gained not used also is wrong. So, what Shastra Shravanam we are doing regularly, that also should be internalized. Internalizing the Shravana or the things which are heard uh, every day in our classes of the Shastras is in the form of these 3-4 things. First, clear understanding about the truth. That it is very much there, but non traceable, seeable by any of the faculties. Are we clear about it? Both the things. It is there, yet none of the upadhis can catch it. This should be very clear. Then, otherwise, that nastikata, that it is not seen by the upadhis, therefore it is not there, that will continue. First breakthrough we have to achieve is of these twofold. A, the Paramatma is there. B, he is non-perceivable by any of the present faculties with which we see the world. Second is very essentially clearly to be known that in the recognizing of that real Brahma Atma as our Atma alone is the attainment of whatever we are trying to through all our pursuits. Whether we call it bliss, whether we call it as infinitude, whether we call it as birthlessness, changelessness, deathlessness, whether we call it is unconditional experience of infinitude, effortlessness, miserylessness, ananda, whatever you call it, that is obtained only in the experience of that deeper self. This should be very clear to us. This should be the internalizing of Shastra because in and through the Shastras, this is what is being spoken time and again. Third one is what? That self can be pursued, experienced because it has been experienced by whoever have tried in the past, right from the beginning, millions in numbers. Therefore, the acceptance of possibility that we also can realize that self should come. Then the inspiration to do sadhana, etc. comes. After these three things are done, that Paramatma is there but not perceivable by any faculties. In the attainment of Him alone is the achievement of whatever we are otherwise trying to achieve but getting always disappointed. Third, it can be achieved by anyone, everyone who tries, including me. Then come, very important thing, ki in our day's schedule, you know, how many of the things which we are doing and wasting our time and energy and thus not finding them in the pursuit of this Paramatma. This again internal thought is very, very essential because time remains the same, and to achieve that Paramatma, lot of deeper internal, the sadhanas of again and again rethinking and becoming clear in the understanding, then as we call technically as the Vyatirika sadhana anvaya have to be done. तो उसके लिए we need time, उसके लिए we need attention. More importantly, उसके लिए we need a lot of energy, isn't it? Now, whole day we have to become internal as a matured seeker to see how many are the unwanted involvements we are involving in, because of which we are not finding interest, introvertedness, or the time to pursue that Paramatma, whom we understood that he is there and he should be achieved, and in the achievement of him alone there is moksha. This fourth point follows the above three. If the above three have not come in our heart, the internalizations, then the fourth has no meaning. The question, the fourth one, that where are the things or places in which I am wasting all my sacred time and mind energy. Therefore, I am not finding the time for pursuing what I am conceived, I am convinced about, experience of my own inner self. First of all, that thought has it become deeper and deeper, है ना? शास्त्र का एक सबसे बड़ा देन है जो हमको लेना है कि the desire to know, experience the self. In that also, the restlessness or sense of urgency. Are these things happening to us as we are listening to our Shastras? Every day, we may not be able to assess it, but once a week, once a month. Past 1 month, I am every day listening. So, have these four things, five things happened? I know about the existence of the truth, about obtaining it alone gives the desired bliss or liberation, etc. Third, about it is achievable, it can be achieved, it should be achieved. Then the fourth one, how is my day happening whole day? If I cannot command my day and plan out and do maximum things only for the pursuit of my own chosen goal, then I can't achieve it then. It only remains as a dream. All the spiritual understanding, not even dream. We are not even dreaming it at this present moment. Casually, we are listening. But the fifth point, which we discussed just now, which should be actually the fourth point, is how intense is our longing for the Paramatma Anubhuti. For example, last 24 hours from yesterday morning class up to today morning class, 24 hours, 101,440 minutes into 60. So many seconds are spent. How many times the thought and desire of Paramatma came, and how many times thought and desire of the worldliness came? Isn't it? We have to question ourselves. Now, the desire only is not there, and even if they are not intense, then how can the trial or try For fulfilling that inner desire, be intense, deep, sincere. It can't be. Therefore, becoming sentimental, more than that, becoming intelligent and taking that way all our this spiritual life into our hands, we have to systematically plan and do. Fifth thing is this one. First, clarity of the existence of truth. Second is in the attainment of that alone is the moksha. Third, everybody can attain, even I also can attain. Fourth, the sense of urgency, even exclusiveness if possible, to attain it. Fifth one is how much of the day of mine is wasted in the unwanted channels. It is very crucial question, very subjective also, very questionable question. Nobody should question us. That is what we feel. मेरी मर्जी, मैं जैसा भी मेरा दिन जिंदगी बिताऊंगा. Nobody has a right. Exactly, nobody has a right to ask you. But you as a seeker have a duty to ask yourselves. I as a seeker have a duty to ask systematically how many hours per day, 24 hours. No accountability. For what? How many hours of the time is going on? Is you know, when the whole day is filled with all the unwanted, where is the time for this? So there we have missed the point, where there we have lost the game. Like in cricket, every ball you have to protect yourself and hit for 6-4. One ball missed, catch, LBW, wicket out. You and I are that way being bowled continuously by all these obstructions, all these hindrances. Anywhere such things come, we should be able to defend ourselves and play well. Many of us fail in this aspect. Mm. So there we have to be successful. We have to be very clear about our accountability of one particular day. And in that one day, minimizing the wants and only involving in them, and rest of which those things in which there is nothing of our spiritual sadhana there. It's just a waste of the time and all. We should be able to say no to that, withdraw from it, come out of it. Then, in whatever the way possible, in the beginning irregularly, later on regularly, the packets of time of half an hour, 1 hour, we have to keep on dedicating for the pursuit of the truth. And truth pursuit is keeping the Upanishadic mantra with bhashya and meaning in the mind and accordingly contemplating what is said about the truth by the Shastra. So that saying itself is the means for contemplation. So involve in it for some time. When tired, exhausted, come back. Do routine, whatever is there, little bit. Again, go back. Or involve in those things which don't create vasanas, which don't create the importance given to the world, which don't create the agitations of the mind, etc. Now, in every of these doings, in the beginning days, where we never were habituated to this, there is struggle, there is tension, there is worry, there is a sense of missing some bhoga or enjoyment, which is true also. But all of them we have to negotiate. That is what is called strength in sadhana. The weakness is what? At every of those level, either we don't think it or we compromise with it. And a strong person exactly understands what to give up, what to do, and a strong person has guts to give up and do the things. A weak person either doesn't think, even if he knows he cannot give up the thing to be done, then how can he do the thing to be done? He cannot give the thing to be given up, so how can he do what is to be done? So there are the real again tests. वहीं सारे वहम, डर, है ना, कुछ मिस हो जाएगा करके फीलिंग, क्या होगा पता नहीं. Such are the things which frighten us. There are the places where we have to take risk and jump into. Risk is from the standpoint of ignorance. But it's not risk actually. Like we told once, the example of the ant, it is on the tip of that vessel. And inside that vessel, there is an ambrosia, amrutam. It is thinking, should I go and try to drink? If I fall in it, like in my earlier lives as ants or other ants, I may die. So what to do? What to do? So that ant should take a risk to jump and drink that, and it will never die because it is an amrutam. In the same way, taking risk in doing spiritual sadhanas is like jumping into the vessel of nectar. We won't die, we become eternal. We don't lose anything. We are always gainers. In the world, taking risk is always risky and definitely proved to be wrong and risky only. स्पिरिचुअलिटी में कोई भी रिस्क होता ही नहीं, नुकसान होता नहीं, है ना. स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. Okay. Now, along with all these five things, the sixth one is little crucial. Mm, what it is, key is our thinking again, like that of all ordinary non-spiritual human beings, or do we have some special thinking and understanding about what? The entire world in front of us, which is appearing to the perceiving faculties to be so much real, therefore so much important. The difference should be in them and us is the deep understanding that it is not as much real as it is seen. Therefore, it is not as much important as it is thought. Anything, how much ever grand, great, glorious it appears to me, positively as well as negatively. Negative means the huge, these bhukampas and all of them are happening, calamities natural are happening, or wars between countries are happening. Positive things is the civilizations, the what do I say, the discoveries, the inventions. So at the Vyavahara level, for the Vyavahara's comfort, they're all okay. But then that is where is the trick of the mind. Na? Simple thing is what? How many hours the Bhukambas come, how much of the scientific inventions are done. When we enter dream or deep sleep, where are they? They are never there. That means they are only in the waking plane. You know? Though negotiating with doing what we are supposed to do, beyond that, if we can discover this, very difficult it is, that everything of this world is temporary, therefore not real, therefore no need to be given any importance other than the Vyavaharik. If this we can discover, then we don't add agitations, vasanas to our own mind and antarkarana. We don't disturb our mind with various emotions. Because हर एक चीज जो है ना बाधा डालता है. What is the बाधा? Again and again making us extrovert when we are trying to be introverted in discovering the self, because self is innermost. है कि नहीं? प्रत्येगात्मा का दर्शन के लिए हमारा दृष्टि प्रत्येक होना चाहिए. ऑल दीज थिंग्स हमें परांगमुख बनाते हैं. दे मेक अस एक्सट्रोवर्ट. समटाइम्स तो in 1 or 2 lives we will have to become so ruthless to totally close all our faculties, not allowing any outer things to enter, how much ever they appear to be wonderful. That's the meaning of avrutta chakshu amrutatvam ichha. So if all the five things which we discussed earlier are one side, this one thing is more important. Because if this is achieved, all those five can be easily done. If not, those five are as good as not achieved only. Because पानी फिर जाएगा उन सब में. Why? Because for us still the world, worldly things, worldly people, worldly relations, worldly doings, worldly gainings, worldly involvements, worldly indulgences still have some reality value. Anything smaller than the smallest to bigger than the biggest. है कि नहीं? Otherwise, the attention goes there. Thoughts are formed about it. mind gets agitated, mind gets extroverted. इसको फिर से शांत करके focusing the attention on the deeper inner self, it becomes a big struggle. So all these six things, if they are happening, we are on the right track of utilizing the blessings called as regular study of Shastras. This is for those who are studying Shastra. जो नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, how can we discuss about them? This is a totally different world of worldliness, absolute. Their drishti is always for the newer and newer sensuous things that are to come in front and to involve in them by procuring them in whatever the means. Absolutely, the world presented by the senses alone is true, real for them. They pursue, they get those things. They may be happy also. But that happiness is not eternal. This is what we were also earlier. Now we are just discussing the question in what way the study of Shastras is used by us and our time spent there is justified. Are these things happening in us? These are the ones which, as we said, take us deep inside ourselves if we travel and take us to that experience to which others are alien. Like, two classmates. One of them has taken a highly professional course, excelled in that in 20 years of time. The other fellow didn't do anything, just was searching for job here and there, something for livelihood he got it. But both are classmates earlier. पर 20 साल के बाद मिलते हैं तो he is in the highest status and position and money and all. Other fellow is same. In the same way, when we right from the beginning pursue the Shastra Dhenam and take all these six cares and become introverted and reach to that nearmost self, innermost self, our experience is totally different of the truth and reality. The others can't imagine it. Like because of 3-4 years of your regular listening, to what level of clarity you got regarding the truth, regarding what is said by Shastras and Gurus. You can't communicate this to your own friends and relatives whom you know from 30-40 years. You can't, but they are in different world altogether. And you try also once or twice to tell them and how miserably you fail it. You know it, I know it. You fail in it, isn't it? In fact, remember in this way, with any of the prakriyas of the Upanishads, really we have learned the art of becoming introverted deeper and deeper with clarity of vision. How glorious, how beautiful is the life. They are the ones who from ordinary became saintly, became sages, from the bound to the liberated. You know, from the cycle of Janma Marana to transcendence of all of them, from the unreal to the real, isn't it? In Kruta Yuga, everybody were pursuing this. Meager were there who were worldly. Exactly opposite is in Kali Yuga. Everybody in the Kali is extroverted, very meager, fingertips countable are those who are pursuing this with all the clarity. My point is, all these clarities, one by one, keep coming to us when we are allowing the Rishi Parampara, Shruti Mata, to bless us through our everyday study of the Shastras, mainly Upanishads. Any other class of Ramayana, Bhagavad can be stopped. The Yoga Darshanam, Gita, not Upanishad. That alone will empower us all in all these understandings with clarity day by day. From the information level through the vagueness to the absolute clarity. Lack of clarity again is a cause for not having that confidence. Like in everywhere of the world, clarity gives us confidence. A business, I'm clear what to do, then I'm confident. Isn't it? In spirituality also, more clarity than more confidence. So everyday listening should add to that clarity, leading to the confidence of becoming more and more sadhaka. You know, in that effort of being a sadhaka, doing sadhana with the confidence, the things to be given up, whether we call it as the bhoga, whether we call it as the other outer worldly doings, it starts happening. That's called as Artha Kama Dharma Tyaga for the sake of moksha in our technical language. Clarity nahi hai to confidence nahi aayega. If there's no confidence, means we don't have the clarity of what we are perceiving is the highest. So the Shruti Mata, more and more studied, deeply unbiased way, shall make this clarity more and more, and the confidence. And the highly confident person ruthlessly rejects everything, and with all the pains of the upadhis or their obstructions, he will not care them, he will just sit for his attempts for the meditational sadhanas. Just like the child of yours, he is very arrogant and careless. Whatever the grandparents say, you say, other elders say, he will not give up his nonsense. A very negative example given for a very positive thing. That boy is ruthless. He says, I don't care whatever you say, I'll do what I like. Because his clarity he has got, confidence he has got of doing that nonsense. अब कोई बदल नहीं सकता उसको. If your children are not doing anything wrong, means they are not so clear and confident. So here also, when there is a clarity, there is confidence. When there is a confidence, there is ruthlessness in putting all efforts. There is ruthlessness in rejecting all the unwanted things. Perfect. Maja aayega aisa wala life. Each of them will be added to us when we are holding on to the fate of Shruti Mata and our Rishimuni Guru Parampara along with the Bhagavan. Let us continue this sacred noble journey every day. Small little objections or demands or excuses or complaints or the worries, the mind keeps on putting in front. Just smile at them. Just postpone them. Say, ठीक है, कल देखेंगे, परसों देखेंगे. Like earlier we were postponing spirituality. Let us postpone the mind suggestions today. When we postpone them, they just go away, whether it is spiritual or non-spiritual. है कि नहीं? Interesting, no? Trick of the mind. Give importance appears to be urgent. Postpone it, just forgotten also. So postponing all those feelings of mind, suggestion of the mind at that neck of the moment, when it is overpoweringly attacking us, उस समय उसको थोड़ा पोस्टपोन करोगे तो देखेंगे हम धीरे धीरे that starts becoming weak. That's how you should weaken the mind and use the strong intellect for the sadhana. May Lord bless us, Guru bless us, Shruti Mata bless us. May we be blessed by all of them to realize those blessings, use those blessings, and discover that blissful blessedness in our life. Om, Om, Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharusibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyah. Om Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Gurave Sarvalokanam Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Yairime Guruvihi Purvam Padavakya Pramanatah Vyakhyatah Sarva Vedantaha Tan Nityam Pranatosmyaham. Om Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kruto Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Om Bhavayeva Bhavan Iti Me Nitaram Samajayata Chetasi Kautukita Mama Varaya Moha Mahajaladhim Bhava Shankara Deshikame Sharanam. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gaganasadrusham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tannamami Parabrahmane Shruti Matre समस्त ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। श्री ऐतरेय उपनिषदः आचार्येभ्यो नमः। श्री वेदव्यास महर्षये नमः। श्री ऐतरेय महर्षये नमः। श्री आद्यशंकर महर्षये नमः। अस्मत् गुरुभ्यो नमः। तेषां सर्वेषां कृपा अनुग्रहेण उपनिषदुक्त ब्रह्मात्मैक्यबोधस्य अस्मिन् क्षणे एव अनुभवसिद्ध्यर्थं सनातनधर्मस्य वैदिकहैन्दव संस्कृतेः शास्त्राणां साधनानां प्रक्रियाणां गुरुशिष्यभक्तभगवत्परम्परायाः पुनरुत्थानजागरणविश्वव्याप्तिद्वारा विश्वाध्यात्मिकप्रगति एकता शान्तिकल्याण पुरोभिवृद्ध्यर्थं ये ये भक्तसाधक आचार्य गुरवः अस्माकं सह अस्मिन् धर्मसंस्थापनकार्ये कङ्कणबद्धाः तेषां सदा सर्वदा दिग्विजयार्थं बाह्याभ्यन्तरशत्रुविघ्ननिर्मूलनद्वारा शक्तिसाधना संपदा सानुकूलता उत्साहपरिणानां प्राप्तिद्वारा स्मिन् अनेकशास्त्राणाम् अध्ययन साधना मध्ये श्रीऋग्वेदान्तर्गत ऐतरेय उपनिषदः पारायणम् आद्यशंकर भाष्य समेत अध्ययनं वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे साधनान् अपि। ॐ मनस्तापतमशान्त्यै यस्य पादनखच्छटा शरदिन्दुनिभाभाति तं वन्दे नीलचिन्मणिम्। ओमथ श्रीऋग्वेदान्तर्गत ऐतरेयोपनिषद् शान्तिमन्त्रः। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविरावेर्म एधि वेदस्य म आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवत्ववतु मामवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ अथ पारायणं तृतीयोऽध्यायः। ॐ कोऽयमात्मेति वयमुपास्महे कतरः स आत्मा येन वा पश्यति येन वा शृणोति येन वा गन्धान् आजिघ्रति येन वा वाचं व्याकरोति येन वा स्वादु चास्वादु च विजानाति यदेतत् हृदयं मनः च एतत् संज्ञानम् आज्ञानं विज्ञानं प्रज्ञानं मेधा दृष्टिः धृतिः मतिः मनीषा ज्योतिः स्मृतिः संकल्पः क्रतुः असुः कामः वशः इति सर्वाणि एव एतानि प्रज्ञानस्य नामधेयानि भवन्ति। एष ब्रह्मा एषः इन्द्रः एषः प्रजापतिः एते सर्वे देवाः इमानि च पञ्चमहाभूतानि पृथिवी वायुराकाश आपो ज्योतिंषि एतानि इमानि च क्षुद्रमिश्राणि इव बीजानि इतराणि च अंडजानि च जारुजानि च स्वेदजानि च उद्भिज्जानि च अश्वा गावः पुरुषाः हस्तिनः यत्किञ्च इदं प्राणिजङ्गमं च पतत्रि च यच्च स्थावरं सर्वं तत्प्रज्ञानेत्रं प्रज्ञाने प्रतिष्ठितं प्रज्ञानेत्रो लोकः प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रज्ञानं ब्रह्म। स एतेन प्रज्ञेन आत्मना अस्मात् लोकात् उत्क्रम्य अमुष्मिन् स्वर्गे लोके सर्वान् कामान् आप्त्वा अमृतः समभवत् इति। ॐ ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Friends, what a beautiful was the Sambandha Bhashyam for this Tritiya Adhyaya entire and Pratamo Mantra. We have spent one particular complete day yesterday to study it. Now we will study the Bhashya for the first mantra. So what was the introduction? There was an assembly of Adhunatana Jignasus. The Jignasa in them was because they became mumukshus. They became mumukshus because they realized they are in the bondage of this samsara of sadhya sadhana, which is anitya. So, the anitya sadhya sadhana life was felt by them as bondage. Naturally, they wanted to come out of that bondage. The desire to come out of bondage is called as mumuksha. Moktum ichha mumuksha. And luckily, they have known that the moksha is experienced by the earlier jnanis, etc. And how did they experience moksha? Only by knowing the truth or the self. Therefore, the knowing the self or the truth, desire to know, it is called therefore as jignasa. And in the first three, four lines, Shankara Bhagavan said, through this Shastra Dhenam, when the Siddhanta Jnana of Atman Brahman is known, and when it is meditated upon, when that is experienced, then everyone became Mukta. Brahma Vidya Sadhana Kruta Sarva Atma Bhava Phala Bhapti. Sarvatmya Bhava has come with the Brahma Vidya Sadhana. That is why you have seen just now, 2 minutes back, when we have chanted that the list of everything is given, including Pashu Pakshi Adi, Devata Adi. And what is said there? Everything is that same Prajnanam Brahma. No, to that mantra of the Upanishad, Bhashyakara's Bhashya is an introduction. Ki, through the Brahma Vidya sadhana, we reach to the liberation. The state of liberation is Sarvatmya Bhav. Okay, and that was taught to us through Vamadevadi Acharyas and their story. And then, which is being said again and again by all the Shastras. And then discussed in the Brahmavid Parishat. So the Brahmavid Parishat, same Brahma Vidya is discussed. Shastras always throw light only on this Brahma Vidya. Here also in this Upanishad, Vamadeva Acharya story through that Brahma Vidya is taught. In other Upanishads, other Acharyas. And then this Brahma Vidya, whoever have understood, practiced, they got this Sarvatma Bhava, which is the phala of the Brahma Vidya, which is the sthiti of the final moksha. See how many important, very essential things to be held in the heart to get inspired to do sadhana are given to us in this Sambandha Bhashya. Then these Adunatana Jignasus, Adunatana Mumukshus, Adunatana Vairagis. Are we so? Vairagi ho gaya ki nahi for the world? Then only there will be Mumuksha to get liberated. Then only Jignasa. Our today's introduction, in which we saw the 6 points, they are nothing but what is this, what we have said, what is given here, that alone. Then they started discussing what? Koyamatmi. This is the introduction. Now, Katham, how did they discuss? Bhashyakara, having said so, says this is how. What is this is how? The first mantra of the Upanishad. So, Koyamatmeti Vayamupasmahe Kataraha Saha Atma Yena va Pashyati Yena va Shrunoti Yena va Gandhana Jigrati Yena va Vacham Vyakaroti Yena va Swaducha Vijanati. So, Koyam Atma, who is this self? Let us first of all discover. For what? Vayam Upasmahe. Let us do the Upasana of that Atman, so that we also get liberated, like the Vamadeva, the Acharyas. Then each one started saying, Aswadu Aswadu Vijanati, Yenava Katarahasa Atma. They have two options. One is Upadhyukta, another is Nirubadhika. So here all this, in this shloka, the Upadhyukta Atman is discussed. Katarahasa Atma is, which is the Atma among these two. One of them is who is going through various experiences through various upadhis. What is येन वा पश्यति, येन वा शृणोति, येन वा गन्धानाजिघ्रति, येन वा वाचं व्याकरोति, येन वा स्वादुचास्वाद्य विजानाति. Is this the Atma? They questioned. Is this Atma having realized Vamadevadi got liberated? Is this the Atma, the theme of the Upanishads? Is this the Atma which is discussed in the Brahmavid Parishad? Therefore, is this the Atma? We also have to do Upasana for our own moksha. Now you understand from this questioning or from this sloka meaning what is intended is how much our theory we have heard outside from the gurus. As we saw in our today's introduction, we have to internalize of what we have heard. Here the discussion by this Adhunatana Jignasu Mumukshus is therefore to understand for their own internalization of this understanding for their own sadhana and siddhi. So, what's the bhashyam for this mantra? Let us see. Ki, yam atmanam, that self, ayam atma iti, this what is myself in this way, sakshat vayam upasmahe, that we can really do the upasana of that atman, so that we reach to it as our own real self and get liberated from all our bondages. So, what is the mantra? Koyam atmeti vayam upasmahe. So, yam atmanam ayam atma iti sakshat vayam upasmahe kaha saha atma iti. That's the meaning of the sentence. Yam atmanam, that self. Ayam atma iti. That this is my real self. In this way, sakshat, undoubtedly. Vayam upasmahe. We should do the upasana of it. Kaha sa atma iti. Who is that Atma? This is what is the question. Koyam Atma iti इस सेंटेंस का ये अर्थ है. यम च आत्मानम अयम आत्मा इति साक्षात उपासीनः. And that self which is of whom the upasana was very intensely done by. Whom? Upasinah, having done the upasana of the self as their own self. Vamadeva, the Vamadevaji, as what said in the earlier last mantra, Amrita Samabhavatu. He has become immortal. Amrita. Tam eva vayam upasmahe. That Atma alone we also should do the upasana. We will do it. Konu khalu saha Atma iti. Therefore, Amadeva got liberated. He got liberated by the upasana. He did the upasana of the Atman. So what is that Atman? Having done the upasana of whom he has realized, liberated, got Amrita ityadi. Good question, no? Direct question. Always remember, whenever we see the saints and sages, what state of liberation they are in, we should be contemplative about what sadhana they have done for them. Only these two we have to mind and do for our own liberation. So Vamadevaji became Amrita. So we should also become Amrita. Vamadevaji did the upasana of the Atman. We should do the upasana of the Atman. Which Atman he has done the upasana to get liberated or Amrita? Let us know it. Therefore, let us discuss. So, Vamadeva Amrita Samavat Tameva Vayam Upasmahe Konu Kalu Sa Atma iti. So, Kaha Ayam Atma iti, which is Atma? That was the discussion happened in the meeting. Why they want to discuss that and discover which is the Atma? Because Vayam Upasmahe, they want to do the Upasana. Therefore, what is that which bridges these two words? Ki adding the story of Vamadeva or any of the saints says. What is that? Which is an Atman having meditated upon the Vamadeva, the rishis, recognize the Amritatva. That Atma is the question. Which is that Atma? Karke. When we also know, we also do the Upasana of that. Remember, in Vedantic, this parallels, the word Upasana is not like the Upasana of the Abhishekam, Upasana of the Ashtottaram, Upasana of the Archana Puja, Mangala Harati. No. Here the Upasana means coming nearer and nearer and nearer and sitting nearer and nearer and nearer. And if at all possible, sitting so near that you become one with him. And with the self, we can become so nearer in sitting that we can become one with him. Therefore, in case of Vedanta, Upasana is equal to become one. Like when the water is poured in a glass, let us say from the other thing. So it is sitting in the water, in the glass. उपासना हो रहा है उस पानी का उस टम्बलर में. But tumbler is different, water is different. Therefore, in the Upasana case, the water is contained in the tumbler, that's it. It has not become one with the glass tumbler. Why? They are two different things. But you pour the water in another waters. है ना? वहाँ क्या है? The Upasana of this water which is poured is not only sitting near to the water in which it is poured, but it is merging with it because it can merge. With the glass, it can't merge. Therefore, there the upasana is in the glass, now there is a water. But in the water can merge. Therefore, there the upasana is merging. In the same way, in real self of ours, when we do the upasana of it, we can merge in it as it is our own self. Therefore, here the upasana means to merge and become one with. And that is the way for realization, liberation. Theoretically knowing this is self, that is self, I am self, and remaining to be far away from the self with the upadhis as jiva is a samsara only. We are going through that anyway. Therefore, Vamadevji did upasana is what? He rejected all the upadhiyukta jivatadhatmyam and he identified with the nirupadhika brahmavastu or atmavastu. So, therefore, by listening to all this, the clarity should get intense in our understanding. And it's such a big question, like in the world also, we're always put in front of us with the two things to choose: marriage, this person, that person, house, this house or that house, objects to buy, this or that object, places to go on pilgrimage, this place or that place, or for picnic. Always we are put in front, and our discretion, our intelligence decides what we choose and enjoy or suffer. So, same thing is inside. Two Atmas are there, Sopadika, Nirupadika. It is your choice always. We never know that there is a choice till we study Upanishads. Then choicelessly we identify, means do the upasana of the Sopadika Atma only. And once we identify, we suffer. Because the Sopadika is limited by all means. Just like you have selected wrong person as wife or husband, whole life you suffer. Wrong house you have taken, you suffer. Wrong vehicle you bought, you will suffer only. Isn't it? In the same way, here the wrong thing as self is selected as sopadika, then we are suffering, suffering, suffering. Luckily, क्या होता है ना, whether we become aware or not, at every moment, to detach from the sopadika atma, identify the nirupadika atma, the door is always open. Like for an adharma atma, adharma करने वाले को, to stop adharma, exit out of it, and enter into the dharmic jivana, the door is always open. For a dishonest fellow, corrupt fellow, to be non-corrupt and honest, door is always open. For a lazy, lethargic, indolent fellow, to become active and dynamic, the door is always open. For a cranky, selfish, egoistic person, to be calm, quiet, selfless, egoless, door is always open. Whether you see it or not. What Shastras do is they show us, they empower us, they give us the strength to open this door and go out of this chamber to that chamber. So the chamber of Sopadika Atma to the Nirupadika. Can we understand this idea? Are we can we put efforts to be convinced about this? Then can we put efforts really to do the upasana of the Nirupadika, reducing the upasana of the Sopadika? This is what the sadhana lies. This one can do and realize the self immediately after the first Vedantic class heard of this type, or 1,000 classes he may listen, yet he may not start. It depends on each individual. Then what is our position? This is what finally we have to think about. When will I start doing the upasana of the Nirupadika Atma? This is what our introduction today. है ना? फिर भी अभी भी हम फिर मुहूर्त के लिए देख रहे हैं, इंतजार कर रहे हैं. This is called the powerful delusion of the mind, lethargy. That the word is there, no? The inertia in English. It is both inertia of the motion, inertia of the restlessness. We have the inertia of the motion of living like a sopadika jiva, that we don't want to come out of it. And we have the inertia of not identifying with the nirupadika. From that we have to eject out. We go on postponing, we go on taking chances, we go on saying aur thoda, aur thoda, aur thoda. Do you understand how we are cheated by our mind every moment? Therefore, every moment with the intellectual conviction, how we have to overcome the mind's cheating and then do the thing which we are convinced for our own evolution. This is where is the deep what these great people, when they are in the ashram for years together, all alone, what do? There is this alone. Struggling with their mind inside continuously. You know? So that from the Sopadika to the Nirupadika Atma Tadatmya, they try. Even if they are jungle, mind to hai is Atme, which has got its own impressions, its own so many of the habits and etc. It will not allow easily. धीरे 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 years sometimes lives of practice से थोड़ा थोड़ा मन हमारे काबू में आकर it starts releasing us from its hold of forcing us to identify with the Sopadika Atma, then allows us to identify with the Nirupadika. This internal struggle of a spiritual seeker, only he knows. And he knows that this is the way, because now I'm at this level. I have to reach to that level. I have to travel that distance. That maturity comes. कि मैं जानता हूँ कि मुझे कहाँ जाना है, अभी मैं कहाँ हूँ और रास्ता कितना कठिन है और उसको तय करना ही पड़ेगा. देखो. So again I am chanting the Bhashyam. Yam Atmanam, that self, I am Atma iti. This is what is my real self. In this way, Sakshat, we directly, Vayam Upasmahe. We have to do the Upasana. Kaha Saha Atma iti. Who is that Atma? Again, Yam cha Atmanam, the same Atman, I am Atma iti. This is what is my real self. In this way, Sakshat Upasinaha Vamadevaha. That Vamadevaji who has done the Upasana of it. And what result he got? Having done the Upasana of that Atman, Amrutaha Samabhavatu. He has become immortal. Tameva Vayam Upasmahe. Same Atman we want to do Upasana. Therefore, Konu Kalu. We will do. We are convinced. But who is that Atman? So they are convinced of Vamadeva, convinced of Vamadeva's realization, and convinced about the path followed by the Vamadeva for realization of his Amritat immortality. So they want to know. They also know that they have done the Upasana. They also know that they have done the Vamadevji has done the Upasana of the Atman. But which Atman is the point? They're so specific in their question. So, full faith in Vamadeva and his Amritatva and his sadhana of the Atma Upasana. They also want to have that Amritattva. They have no doubt to follow. They are not arrogant. Saying, मैं क्यों follow करूँगा कामदेव जी को? मैं तो कामदेव को follow करूँगा. You know, they don't have that type of arrogance. When he traveled and reached that, I will also travel and reach. See, this another very essential thing in life of avoiding that very subtle ego which wants to maintain its own individuality and separateness, therefore doesn't want to follow. वो अपना यूनिक रहना चाहता है. अरे यूनिक रहना ही तो सब प्रॉब्लम्स है. There's nothing to be unique about. Everybody traveled this way and they reached. Like when you go to Kedarnath, you may be लखपति or करोड़पति, तुम जिस घोड़े गधे पे बैठे हो वो उसी रास्ते से जाएगा वो. There's no other रास्ता. नहीं नहीं मैं वहां से जाऊंगा. There's a valley. You will fall in that. Your ego will not work there. Should not work there. Isn't it? जैसे सब जा रहे हैं वैसे ही जाना है. So these students adhunatanaha, the purity is the meaning of purity is this one. The one side of purity is they got dispassion from the jagat, vairagya ho gaya. They got strong mumuksha in them. Third, they got jignasa. These are the very internal qualities. Now the second thing is what? They have heard the stories of Vamadeva, the rishis, and they trusted the rishis and their realization and the way they realized. Second purity. Third, they also want to adopt the same paddhati for realization. Such a purity dekho. Therefore, because of these three purities, the fourth one, let us know. Which Atman, Sri Vamadeva, the rishis have done the upasana of, and thus they became Amruta, the mortal. We also want to do. Therefore, we want to know. So, Jignasa is to know, Jignasa also is to do the Upasana, and finally is to reach the experience of Amrutatva. So, उसमें आप लोग कितने पक्के हैं वो आप समझ लो. It's not an uncommon or new thing. Same thing happens in the world. You know, which are the patriots who worked for the country and brought freedom or developed in any of the ways. Let me also do. There are some people who are thinking like that. Which are the famous doctors which have really served the people through medication. There are some people who are pursuing the footsteps of those doctors and becoming specialized in them and serving. And the famous ophthalmologist of the nation. So there are so many young students take him as a goal and they are pursuing. Famous engineers of the country or the world, famous scientists, the astronomers, koi bhi ho. So there is the next generation of Adhunatana students. They also have that Jignasa, that Atma Jignasa means what field they have become. Let me. This is the only reason because of which the next generation of all professionals are coming up. है ना, ए ग्रेटली सक्सेसफुल आर्किटेक्ट. तो उसको देखकर मैं भी आर्किटेक्चर पढ़ूंगा. ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, लेट मी बी सो. सीइंग दैट लॉयर्स, लेट मी बी पॉलिटिशियंस, अरे मैं भी करूंगा. एंड स्पिरिचुअल आल्सो, है ना. दीज ग्रेट महात्मा सेंट्स लाइक पूज्य गुरुदेव, he went to his guru, did service, learned from him, realized and did seva. So that is inspiring millions. They are doing so. All these calls for egolessness, laziness, purity. These group of bunch of youngsters, Adhunatana, they're very pure-hearted, very good branded. So which is that Atman having done the worship of which Upasana, Vamadeva has got the Amrutattva. Same thing we also want to do the Upasana of him who is that. So there is nothing wrong in taking the wisdom, isn't it? That's why Indians, we take the medical knowledge or scientific knowledge from the outer world. Now we are becoming indigenous in many things. Westerners also, every Westerner philosopher has his ground roots based only in the Eastern philosophy. You talk about the Buddhism, you talk about Zoroaster, you talk about any one of them, यहीं से आए हो. the Jains and all. Even the Christ has come and learned from Hindus only. Who are all these Prophet Muhammad and all? All his grandfathers, all are Brahmins only. They're all Hindus only. Aikine. But then, having learnt it in that language they taught, slowly it has become a different cult to the extent of hating the origin. जब ईगो बढ़ता है तो लड़के का और माँ बाप से ही लड़ता है कि नहीं? That is what you see the phenomena. Sometimes लड़ाई इतनी होती है, whatever father does, opposite only I will do. The son will do. His ego you can't stop. Therefore, whatever we do, these fellows do everything opposite. हम ऐसे लिखेंगे तो वो ऐसे लिखेंगे. अब क्या क्या है बताओ उसका. That is later on confusion developed in every religion. It is how it is. Some of them don't claim to be from Hindus or even claim or not. Quietly they are doing Jaina, Buddha. They are not that much inimical to our Hindus. In their own way, they are inimical because they are a separate cult. वैसे तो है ही, उसका असर तो पड़ ही रहा है सनातन धर्म पे, बट नॉट दैट मच degradingly or destroyingly. Anyway, the discussion is not all that. The discussion is the example. What is an example? Take our ancestors, gurus, example, and understand the footsteps which they followed. Follow that only. This bunch of adunatanaha are of that kind. Therefore, they realized. That's what we wanted to convey. So, yena vai upasmahe konu khalu saha atma iti. Who is that Atman? That is the question. Kaha ayam atma iti vai upasmahe. This first line is discussed so far. No continuation. Evam jignasa purvam anyonyam pruchatam atikranta vishesha vishaya shruti samskara janita srutihi ajayata. Then tam pravadabhyam prapadyata brahma imam purusham. Saha etameva simanam vidarya etaya dvara prapadyata. All this bhashya is to explain what is said in the main mantra Katarahasa Atma. Who is that Atma among these two? They discussed. Mantra continues like that. But Bhashyakara will have to say that these people who have sat for discussing about Atman, they had two options. Where from these two options have come to them? That he has to explain. Na? Then he says, they, because of their Purva Shruti, heard the Shastras, they discovered that there is a possibility of two Atmans. That is why Shruti Mata put Kataraha the Shabda, which indicates that there are two options, one of them to be chosen for the Upasana. So these children, Adhunatanaha, they just were not lazy or just now afresh started. They also have gone through earlier some of the Shastras. In that, the two Atma are explained. Therefore, the option out of these two, which is to be adopted for Upasana. All that Bhagavan explains here, very beautiful it is. Means what? With so much devotion to Upanishads and Adi Shankara Bhagavan, totally engrossed in trying to understand every word with Bhashya that we thoroughly enjoy. What? The intellectual genius of Lord Shankara and genius of Shruti Mata and the genius of the content itself. Greatness of the content, the spiritual knowledge. Then we get inspired, then we do sadhana, all that later on follows. Means he fully understood the main mantra. He understood what are the fill up the blanks that are there. Then how to put them for the subsequent students of Upanishad. He gave the Bhashya. So when we thoroughly understand the Bhashyam, through that understand the mantra, such a meaningfulness in that is found for our sadhana. And if you also by fortune know the Sanskrit Bhasha, ये तो फिर त्योहार ही त्योहार है, मौजा ही मौजा है. Doesn't matter, we are discussing our language. Okay, in this yuga of ours, what to do? The original Sanskrit language is seconded, and we fight internally in our own country about which language. Obviously, in English we are talking what to do. अब ऐसे युग है, एक्सेप्ट करो, क्या करें. बट सब्जेक्ट तो वी आर स्टडिंग स्पिरिचुअलिटी ओनली, ट्रुथ अलोन. So they referred back earlier knowledge. कि one Atma entered through the feet, other Atma entered to the Simana Vidarya. तो द फीट से एंटर करने वाला आत्मा अंदर क्या कर रहा है, ऊपर से एंटर किया हुआ आत्मन क्या कर रहा है, वो सारा यहाँ बताया जाएगा. देखो इन दोनों में किनका उपासना करने से मृतत्व विल कंटिन्यू. Therefore, we should not do his upasana. Of whose upasana when we do, we get amritattva like the VAMADEVA, the Rishi. Let us do that. So here in a group they are discussing with each other, and individually also each one is coming to their own personal subjective conviction. Then once the meeting is over, everybody got their own conviction, they go for their own research of doing the upasana, realize it. So that discussion, then ये नवा पश्यति इत्यादि जो है उसका क्या अर्थ है, that all we will see. Then after being learnt what is the self to be done, the upasana of, yet so many expressions of the same self through the hridaya expresses so many emotions, etc. All of them also is Paramatma. In this way, the special separate value given to them is rejected. Thus, they won't trouble us anymore. Then we can do the upasana. Like there are 3 lanes of shops in an exhibition. In one lane, we saw 2 shops. Then the wife says, "Oh, बाकी 8 शॉप है, अभी देखने दो." He says, "उन 8 में भी वही बात है, let us go to the next lane." In the same way, all emotions are nothing but same Paramatma Tattva. Let us not value them. Let us discover the Paramatma Tattva. That's how this Upanishad slowly takes us to the Prajnanam Brahma Mahavakya in the next 4 or 3.5 shlokas. So, steadily, slowly with Bhashyam, we try to study and understand. Thank you. Om 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 Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Paramarshibhyo Parabrahmane Shruti Matre Namaha. Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Thank you, friends. Rama Rama. Yeah, see you tomorrow.